pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to the Vlog-A-Thon 4.0. And you know what? I'm pretty excited about this because if you don't recall from the last vlog, then well, I simply revealed to the whole world and confirmed that there does exist such a thing as Kaiju Force Neo Ecstatic Times. I've already talked about what it is as a whole. It's simply put just a crossover between the real universe, which is the one we have right now, and the Godzilla universe. Or the Kaiju universe as a whole, not just Godzilla, just also Ultraman and Gamera. You probably get the idea. It's kind of like that of other crossovers that we've had, like Family Guy and Simpsons crossover, or the Kingdom Hearts series, which is a crossover between the Disney universe and Final Fantasy universe. And there have also been a lot of others out there, some of which did not involve just two different things. Some of which had 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or so on. But you know what? This is Ecstatic Times that we're talking about. This is, in fact, the next generation duo that hopefully can tackle all the others out there. Kaiju Force Neo Ecstatic Times is simply put what I deem to be a fair representation of my own sort of adult level cartoon. I will say for sure that looking back at everything I've already talked about it, with its animation style, taking some liberties here and there, and pretty much combining a low frame rate sort of art style along with more realistic tones being put together at the same time, it might seem lengthy and strenuous and kind of boring in a way, but of course I'll make it work. I don't really want to use CG in a way. But I will say for sure that Ecstatic Times, aside from everything that I've already talked about with it, I gotta say, there really is a lot that I might have to mention here right now, so let's just get into it. Kaiju Force Neo Ecstatic Times. The plot line just goes like this. Back in 1995, there was the film only released in Japan known as Godzilla vs. Destroya. Well, simply put, the ending of that film pretty much confirmed that we might in fact have a future with another Godzilla, in which that was just Junior, who finally grew up and mutated from Godzilla's radiation after melting down. Well, simply put, the franchise after 1995 of Godzilla itself had been retconned and rebooted quite a few times. As a matter of fact, in 1998 was when Toho gave permission over to director Roland Emmerich to attempt to create an American-style Godzilla film. That of which I know only as Zilla, from 1998. That right there was just the epitome of something that no one even tried to put together properly. I feel like that the source material was just completely rehashed in a way from that film. But if I were to ignore the fact that it is in fact titled as a Godzilla film, then maybe I could cut it a little bit of slack. But moving on from that, there have been quite a few other reboots that have also taken place, especially throughout the Millennium era. Starting in 1999 with Godzilla 2000, and then moving on from that every single year with Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, Godzilla GMK, All Out Attack, and Tokyo SOS, and then finally Godzilla Final Wars, which came out in 2004 and marked the 50th anniversary of the franchise. But then, of course, we were left hanging quite a bit. But then finally, in 2014, we got ourselves another Godzilla reboot. It's yet another American-made one, but I gotta say, looking back at the 2014 film in contrast to what the 98 film decided to give us, the 2014 one is actually pretty darn good at what it is. It's just a Godzilla film in the modern day era, done exactly right. But then there came a sequel in 2019, and wow, that was amazing. I mean, it's quite a good thing to do out there. I mean, the fact that the 2014 Godzilla reboot by Legendary Pictures was able to give us King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and a list of other titans, as they call them, in that little film series that we got going on. Well, I gotta say though, that looking at it right now, the MonsterVerse, as they call it, is supposedly going to be getting bigger in the next decade or so. Starting with the upcoming Godzilla vs. King Kong reboot, which was supposed to come out earlier this year, but unfortunately that did not happen because of all these events that we've been facing this whole entire year. But pretty much stepping back from the MonsterVerse, the Kaiju Force Neo official universe, or KFNOU, is basically just my interpretation of, well, the very popular MCU. As a matter of fact, there have been a lot of different cinematic universes that tried to cash in on the immense success of Marvel Studios and Disney's popular MCU series, which had been going on since 2008. It is still ongoing, I can tell you that, especially with the release of Black Widow. But I will say for sure that starting with everything else that we're going to be having in the next decade or so, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MonsterVerse, and every other cinematic universe that we've got so far, it's just straight up competition. But the KFNOU, I'd say, is going to be hanging back. This is just one of those things in life where I will not be risking any losses or possible gains. I'm just going to be hanging back way, way far away from the likes of franchises like those. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, Detective Comics Extended Universe, the MonsterVerse, and other universes that we currently have in the filmmaking industry by today's standards, they can all go about it with their competition and see who might win, but as for the KFNOU or Kaiju Force Neo official universe, I'm just going to be holding back from a lot of things out there. That could be risks, or it could be joyful things that I might actually want to take out at some point. Well, anyways, Ecstatic Times, simply put, starts off with what will in fact take place after the events of Godzilla vs. Destoroyah in '95, and then of course the whole rest of the franchise itself of Ecstatic Times is simply put just going to be my own creativity and my own levels of cleverness and aptitude kicking in. But of course, I'd probably be here all day talking to the camera if I were to just keep going with this. So you know what? I'd say I'm just going to draw the line here. But I will say that the series itself, I'm hoping to be giving it 11 total seasons, along with a 4-part pilot episode, which will in fact tie in together the events of the Godzilla Heisei era with the ending of Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, and then of course with a lot of other things that I put together myself. So of course, that's pretty much that I got to talk about Ecstatic Times for the time being. But I will say there really is a lot more to expect. But until then, if you want to see more, go down to my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.